The cafeteria erupted. Milk cartons flew, trays crashed, and in the center of it all, three girls cornered the new student against the vending machines, their hands already grabbing at her uniform. "Look at this thrift store trash." Madison Hayes sneered, her perfectly manicured nails digging into the fabric of Aurora Louise's blazer. The sound of tearing cloth cut through the lunch crowd's chatter like a knife. "Did you seriously think you could walk into Westfield Academy dressed like this?" Aurora stood frozen, her lunch tray trembling in her hands. First day, new school, and already they'd found her. But what happened next shocked everyone in that cafeteria, including the security cameras that would later go viral with over 12 million views. Before we dive into this incredible story, if you believe in standing up for what's right, hit that like button right now. And hey, I know these stories take time to create, but they're worth it when I hear from viewers like Sarah from Texas, who said our last video gave her daughter courage to speak up at school. If these stories touch your heart like they touch mine, consider hitting the thanks button below. Every single contribution helps me bring you more powerful stories that need to be heard. It keeps this channel going and helps us reach people who really need these messages of hope and courage. But most importantly, thank you for being here. Thank you for caring about these stories. Now, let's see what Aurora does next. Madison yanked harder. The blazer's shoulder seam split with a violent rip. Behind her, Brooklyn Martinez and Skylar Davidson laughed, their phones already recording. The entire north wing of the cafeteria turned to watch. Some students stood on benches, others whispered behind their hands. "Please." Aurora's voice came out barely above a whisper. "Just let me go." "Let you go?" Brooklyn stepped closer, her breath smelling like strawberry lip gloss and cruelty. "You don't get it, do you? This is Westfield. We have standards. And you." She looked Aurora up and down with disgust. "You're like a cockroach that crawled in through the cracks." The words hit harder than any punch. Aurora's eyes burned. But she wouldn't cry. Not here. Not in front of them. She'd been through 7 schools in 5 years. Military kid. Always the outsider. Always the target. But this time felt different. This time felt worse. Madison grabbed the collar of Aurora's shirt. "I asked you a question. Transfer trash. Where did you even get these clothes? The donation bin behind Walmart?" "Madison, chill." Someone called from across the cafeteria. It was Ethan Walker, captain of the lacrosse team. "She's new. Give her a break." Madison whipped around, her blonde ponytails slashing through the air. "Stay out of this." "Ethan, this doesn't concern you. Everything that happens in this school concerns me." Ethan stood up from his table. His teammates shifted nervously beside him. "Side down. Hero boy," Skylar warned. "Unless you want your girlfriend to see those photos from Jake Morrison's party last weekend." Ethan's face went pale. He slowly sat back down. Madison turned back to Aurora with a triumphant smile. "See? Nobody's coming to save you. Nobody cares about the charity case." That's when she made her biggest mistake. Madison reached for Aurora's backpack, the one with the small military patch on the side, the one that held the last letter from her father before his deployment, the one thing she'd protected through every move, every school, every lonely lunch period. "Don't touch that." Aurora's voice changed. Low, steady, dangerous. Madison laughed. "Or what? You'll cry? Run to the principal? Call your mommy? I'm warning you." "Warning me?" Madison's face twisted with mock fear. "Oh no. Everyone! The new girl is warning me!" She grabbed the backpack strap and pulled. Time slowed down. Aurora's hand shot out. Faster than thought. She grabbed Madison's wrist, twisted her body, planted her hip, and the world flipped upside down. Madison's designer heels left the ground. Her perfect hair whipped through the air. And then, slam! Madison Hayes, Queen Bee of Westfield Academy, hit the cafeteria floor hard enough to knock the wind out of her lungs. Her phone skittered across the tiles. Her face turned from pale to red to purple in the span of 3 seconds. The cafeteria went dead silent. 400 students. Not a single sound except Madison's gasping breaths. Aurora stood over her, still holding her lunch tray with one hand. "I asked you not to touch my backpack." Brooklyn and Skylar stood frozen, their phones still recording but their hands shaking. In the back of the cafeteria, someone started slow clapping. Then another, then another. Within seconds, half the school was applauding. You, Madison wheezed from the floor. "You're dead. Do you know who my father is?" "No," Aurora said quietly. "But I know who mine is. Staff Sergeant James Louise. Taught me judo since I was 6. Said it wasn't about fighting. It was about protecting what matters." She set down her lunch tray and offered Madison a hand up. Madison slapped it away. "Don't touch me, freak!" She scrambled to her feet, her designer uniform now decorated with cafeteria floor grime. "This isn't over. My dad owns half this town. He'll have you expelled by tomorrow." "Maybe." Aurora picked up her torn blazer. "But right now, you're the one on the floor." The bell rang. Students started filing out, but everyone gave Aurora a wide berthsome out of fear. Others out of newfound respect. As she walked toward the exit, whispers followed her like shadows. "Did you see that flip? Madison finally got what she deserved. The new girl's badass. Her dad's military. Madison's going to destroy her." Aurora made it to the hallway before the shaking started. Her hands trembled as she tried to hold the torn pieces of her blazer together. 7 schools. She'd lasted exactly 4 hours at this one before making enemies. Mom was going to be so disappointed. "Hey!" She turned. Ethan Walker stood behind her, holding out his varsity jacket. "Here," he said, "for your uniform." Aurora stared at the jacket. "I can't take that. Madison already." "Madison's a bully," Ethan interrupted. "Has been since middle school. Someone should have stood up to her years ago." He pushed the jacket into her hands. "I'm sorry I didn't help in there. The photos she mentioned. It's complicated. Everything's complicated in high school." Aurora slipped on the jacket. It smelled like expensive cologne and privilege. Everything she wasn't. "Listen." Ethan lowered his voice. "Madison wasn't kidding about her dad. Richard Hayes owns 3 companies in town. He's on the school board. Last kid who crossed Madison got expelled within a week. Made up some story about cheating." "Great." Aurora laughed bitterly. "Mom's going to love adding another school to my transcript." "Maybe not." Ethan glanced around nervously. "There might be a way to protect yourself, but you'd need to trust me." Before Aurora could respond, the intercom crackled to life. "Aurora Louise to the principal's office." "Aurora Louise to the principal's office immediately." His stomach dropped. It was happening already. "Go," Ethan said, "but meet me after school. North parking lot. There's something you need to know about Madison. Something nobody talks about." Aurora headed toward the office, each step feeling heavier than the last. Through the windows, she could see Madison in the nurse's office, surrounded by her friends and dramatically holding an ice pack to her back. Their eyes met through the glass. Madison smiled and drew a finger across her throat. The principal's office smelled like old leather and disappointment. Principal Harrison sat behind his massive desk, his fingers steepled, his expression unreadable. To his right sat a man in an expensive suit, Richard Hayes. No doubt, Madison's father had the same cold blue eyes as his daughter. "Miss Louise," Principal Harrison began, "we need to discuss the incident in the cafeteria. She attacked my daughter." Richard Hayes cut in, "Unprovoked assault. We have witnesses." "Do you also have video?" Aurora asked quietly. Because half the school was recording, Richard's jaw tightened. Videos can be edited. Witnesses can be influenced, but medical records— He held up a paper. "Don't Lee. Bruised ribs. Possible concussion. My daughter could have been seriously injured. Your daughter attacked me first. She tore my uniform. Prove it." Richard leaned back in his chair. "Because I have 30 students ready to testify that you threw the first punch, or should I say, the first flip." Aurora's hands clenched in her lap. She knew how this worked. Had seen it before at other schools. Money talked. Truth walked. Principal Harrison cleared his throat. Miss Louise, while we investigate this matter, you'll be placed on immediate suspension. The door burst open. A woman in military dress uniform strode in, her boots clicking against the floor with military precision. Aurora's heart stopped. Mom? Lieutenant Colonel Sarah Louise surveyed the room with eyes that had seen actual war zones. Gentlemen, I understand there's been an incident involving my daughter. Richard Hayes stood up, extending his hand. Mrs. Louise, Lieutenant Colonel Louise. She corrected, not taking his hand. And you are? Richard Hayes. The father of the victim, alleged victim. Sarah Louise's voice could have frozen hell. I've already spoken with several students. Would you like to hear their version of events? The real version? Mom, how did you? Your friend Ethan called me. Sarah turned to her daughter, told me everything, including some interesting information about previous incidents involving Miss Hayes. Richard's face darkened. I don't know what you think you're doing. What I'm doing, Sarah interrupted, is protecting my daughter from a coordinated campaign of bullying that apparently you've been enabling for years. She pulled out her phone. I have 16 videos from different angles. Your daughter initiated physical contact. She destroyed property. She made threats. My daughter defended herself with minimal force. Minimal force? Richard sputtered. She could have broken Madison's back. She could have. Sarah agreed. I trained her myself. If Aurora wanted to hurt your daughter, trust me, we'd be having this conversation in a hospital. What she did was a basic defensive throw. Textbook de-escalation. Principal Harrison shifted uncomfortably. Perhaps we should all take a moment to what? Sarah's voice cut like a blade. To figure out how to sweep this under the rug, like you did with Emma Patterson last year, or Tyler Brooks the year before. The room went silent. Richard Hayes's face had gone from red to pale. Oh yes, Sarah continued. I did my homework. 23 students have left this school after altercations with Madison Hayes. 23. That's not coincidence. That's a pattern. You can't prove. I don't have to prove anything in court. Mr. Hayes, but I wonder what the school board would think. What the media would think, especially with video evidence. Aurora watched her mother work with a mixture of awe and terror. This was Lieutenant Colonel Louise, in full combat mode. What do you want? Richard finally asked. Justice, Sarah said, simply. Madison Hayes will face the same consequences any other student would face for assault and destruction of property. 3-day suspension. Mandatory counseling. And she stays away from my daughter. Absolutely not. Or, Sarah continued as if he hadn't spoken, we can let the videos speak for themselves. I'm sure local business owner's daughter bullies military child would make an interesting headline. The room fell silent again. Aurora could hear her own heartbeat, loud as thunder. Finally, Principal Harrison spoke. I think a 3-day suspension for both students would be appropriate for fighting on school grounds. No. Sarah's voice was steel. My daughter defended herself. Clear self-defense is not fighting. Madison Hayes gets suspended. Aurora goes back to class. That's the only acceptable outcome. This is outrageous. Richard stood up. You think you can walk in here and... I think... Sarah stood as well, matching his height in her heels. That I'm done watching adults enable a teenage bully because her daddy writes big checks. Your daughter needs help. Mr. Hayes. Real help, not lawyers and cover-ups. She turned to Principal Harrison. So what's it going to be? Do the right thing? Or do I make some calls? The principal looked between the two parents, sweat beading on his forehead. I need to review the evidence. You do that? Sarah pulled out a business card. You have until 5 p.m. today. After that, contact my lawyer. And trust me, he's very interested in patterns of systematic bullying and administrative negligence. She turned to Aurora. Get your things. You're coming home? But Mom. Now, Aurora. They left the office in silence. leaving behind two very unhappy men. As they walked down the hallway, Aurora could feel every eye on them. Word had already spread. The new girl's mom was a badass too. In the parking lot, Sarah finally stopped walking. She turned to her daughter, and for the first time, Aurora saw the worry in her eyes. "Are you okay? Really okay?" Aurora nodded, then shook her head, then burst into tears. Sarah pulled her into a tight hug. "I'm sorry, Mom. I tried to walk away. I tried to ignore them, but when she grabbed Dad's backpack..." "Shh." Sarah stroked her daughter's hair. "You did nothing wrong. Nothing. You hear me? I ruined another school. We just got here and you stood up for yourself. That's what your father and I taught you to do." Sarah pulled back, looking her daughter in the eyes. "I'm proud of you. Madison's going to make my life hell." "Maybe," Sarah admitted, "but something tells me Madison Hayes just learned that not everyone can be pushed around." She smiled grimly. "Besides, you haven't heard the best part. While I was driving here, I got a call from Channel 7 News. Someone sent them the cafeteria videos. They want to do a story on bullying in wealthy school districts." Aurora's eyes widened. "Mom, you didn't..." "I didn't do anything. But apparently, you made quite an impression on your classmates." 3 different students sent in videos. They drove home in contemplative silence. Aurora stared out the window, watching the perfect suburban houses roll by. Somewhere behind those perfect facades, Madison Hayes was probably plotting revenge. But for the first time in 7 schools, Aurora didn't feel alone. Her phone buzzed. Unknown number. "Hey, it's Ethan. Got your number from the school directory. Still want to meet? There's something you really need to know about Madison. Something about what happened to her sister." Aurora looked at her mom. "Can I meet a friend after dinner?" Sarah raised an eyebrow. "A friend? Already?" "Maybe." Aurora said, I think I might have actually made a friend." "Fine, but I'm dropping you off and picking you up. And if this friend is a boy..." "Mom, I'm just saying. I've seen how you flip people. Imagine what I can do." They both laughed. But Aurora couldn't shake the feeling that this was far from over. Madison Hayes didn't seem like the type to accept defeat, and whatever secret Ethan knew about her sister, Aurora had a feeling it was going to change everything. As they pulled into their driveway, Aurora noticed a black SUV parked across the street. The windows were tinted, but she could swear someone was watching them. "Mom," she started to say, but the SUV pulled away, disappearing around the corner. "What is it?" "Nothing." Aurora lied. But her judo training had taught her more than just how to flip people. It had taught her to trust her instincts. And right now, every instinct she had was screaming danger. That evening, Aurora sat at her bedroom desk, trying to focus on homework. But her mind kept replaying the cafeteria incident, the sound of tearing fabric, the look of shock on Madison's face as she hit the ground, the unexpected applause from her classmates. Her phone buzzed again. This time, it was a social media notification. Someone had tagged her in a video, against her better judgment. She opened it. The video title read, "New Girl Destroys Queen Bee Instant Karma." 3 million views in 6 hours. The comments section was exploding. Finally, someone stood up to her. That flip was insane. Madison had it coming for years. Military kids don't play. Anyone know the new girl's name? Aurora's stomach dropped. 3 million views. Her face, her name, her life all viral, all public, all permanent. Another notification. This time, a direct message from an account with no profile picture. "You think you won today? This is just the beginning. Ask Ethan about Rebecca Hayes. Ask him why she's not at Westfield anymore. Ask him what Madison is really capable of." Aurora's hands trembled as she typed back, "Who is this?" The response came immediately. "Someone who learned the hard way that crossing Madison Hayes comes with a price. Be careful. Aurora Luis, you just declared war on someone who doesn't lose." Before Aurora could respond, the account was deleted. Message disappear. Like it never existed. She looked at the time, 6:30. In half an hour. She'd meet Ethan and finally learn what everyone was so afraid to talk about. What happened to Madison's sister? Why did everyone at school seem terrified of a teenage girl? A knock at her door made her jump. Aurora? Her mom's voice. You ready to go? Almost. Aurora grabbed her jacket. Ethan's jacket. She realized she'd forgotten to give it back. As she headed downstairs, her phone buzzed one more time. A text from an unknown number. Just 3 words that made her blood run cold. She knows everything. Aurora stared at the message, her mind racing. Who knows everything? Madison? Her sister? Someone else entirely? Aurora? Her mom called again. We need to go, if you're meeting your friend. She deleted the message and pocketed her phone. Whatever secrets Westfield Academy was hiding, whatever Madison Hayes was capable of, Aurora was about to find out. The drive to school felt different in the evening. The perfect lawns looked sinister in the fading light. The school itself loomed like a fortress, its windows dark, except for a few lit classrooms where clubs were meeting. Text me when you're ready to come home, Sarah said as they pulled into the north parking lot. And Aurora, be careful. Something about this whole situation feels off. I know, Aurora admitted, but I need to understand what I'm dealing with. She got out of the car and watched her mom drive away. The parking lot was nearly empty except for a few cars. In the distance, she could see someone sitting on the hood of a silver Toyota. Ethan. As she walked closer, she noticed he wasn't alone. A girl sat beside him, hood pulled up despite the warm evening. When Aurora got close enough to see her face, she gasped. The girl looked exactly like Madison Hayes. Same bone structure, same blue eyes, but where Madison's face was hard and cruel, this girl's was soft, sad, almost broken. Aurora, Ethan said quietly, this is Rebecca Hayes, Madison's twin sister. Rebecca looked up, and Aurora saw the jagged scar that ran from her left temple down to her jaw. Hello, Aurora. I hear you met my sister today. I thought. Aurora struggled for words. Everyone said Madison's sister was gone. I am gone. Rebecca's voice was barely above a whisper. At least as far as Westfield is concerned, Madison made sure of that. I don't understand. Rebecca pulled down her hood fully, revealing more scars on her neck. 2 years ago, I was like you, new student. Tried to stand up to Madison. Tried to protect another girl she was bullying. She touched the largest scar. Madison doesn't like losing. She did this to you? Aurora felt sick. Your own sister? Not directly, Ethan interjected. Madison's too smart for that. She has ways of making things happen without getting her hands dirty. Rebecca continued. The official story was a car accident. Hit and run. Never caught the driver. But I know who arranged it. Just like I know who spread the rumors that I was unstable. Who made sure I could never come back to Westfield. Who convinced our parents that I needed to be homeschooled for my own safety. Why are you telling me this? Because you're in danger? Rebecca met Aurora's eyes. Real danger. That flip in the cafeteria? You humiliated her in front of everyone? She can't let that stand. She won't. So what am I supposed to do? Transfer schools? Run away? Fight back. Rebecca said firmly. But smart. Madison has weaknesses. Secrets. Things even our father doesn't know. She pulled out a flash drive. Everything's on here. 2 years of evidence. Photos. Videos. Documents. Every dirty trick she's pulled. Every person she's hurt. Every crime she's covered up. Aurora took the drive, feeling its weight despite how small it was. Why didn't you use this yourself? Because I was alone. Rebecca's voice cracked. But you're not? That applause in the cafeteria? Those were people who've been waiting for someone brave enough to stand up to her. You gave them hope. Your mom showing up didn't hurt either. Ethan added. Madison's never had an adult actually challenge her before. Your mom scared her. I could see it. Madison doesn't get scared. Rebecca corrected. She gets even. A car engine roared in the distance. Headlights swept across the parking lot. That's my cue. Rebecca pulled her hood back up. I'm not supposed to be here. If Madison finds out we talked, wait. Aurora called as Rebecca started walking away. How do I contact you? You don't. Rebecca paused. But I'll be watching. And Aurora, whatever you do, don't be alone. Not at school. Not at home. Not anywhere. Madison's reach is longer than you think. She disappeared into the shadows. Just as a black BMW pulled into the parking lot, Aurora's heart stopped. She recognized the car from the cafeteria security footage. Madison's car. Hit in my car, Ethan said urgently. Now, they scrambled into the Toyota just as the BMW's doors opened. Madison stepped out. But she wasn't alone. 4 other students emerged, all varsity athletes. By the look of them, all walking with purpose toward Ethan's car. Drive. Aurora said, Can't. Ethan's voice was tight. They parked behind me. Madison approached the driver's side window, her perfect smile back in place. Behind her, the muscles spread out, surrounding the car. She tapped on the window with one manicured nail. Open up. Ethan, we need to talk. Ethan looked at Aurora. She could see the fear in his eyes. Whatever photos Madison had mentioned earlier, they were enough to keep him in line. It's okay. Aurora said quietly, Open it. The window rolled down halfway. Madison, Ethan said carefully, What do you want? Oh, I'm not here for you. Madison leaned down, looking past him to Aurora. I'm here for our new friend. Heard you've been spreading lies about me. Aurora. Telling people I started the fight. That's called defamation. Daddy's lawyers are very interested. The videos. What videos? Madison's smile widened. Funny thing about digital evidence, it has a way of disappearing, corrupting, getting lost. Aurora's phone buzzed. She looked down to see a notification. Her social media account had been suspended. The viral video was gone. 3 million views. Madison continued. Impressive. But Daddy owns shares in the platform. Amazing what a few phone calls can do. You can't just erase reality. Aurora said. Can't I? Madison laughed. Check your school email. With shaking hands, Aurora opened her email. A message from Principal Harrison. After reviewing all evidence, both students will serve equal suspension for mutual combat. See? Madison straightened up. Reality is what people with power say it is. And in this town, we have all the power. One of the athletes leaned against Ethan's car, deliberately rocking it. Nice ride. Walker, be a shame if something happened to it. Leave him out of this. Aurora said, Your problem is with me. My problem. Madison's voice dropped all pretense of sweetness. Is that you exist. In my school, in my town, breathing my air. She leaned closer. But that's fixable. Are you threatening me? Threatening? Madison laughed again. No. Sweetie, I'm promising. By the end of the week, you'll be begging your mommy to transfer you. And she'll agree. Because the alternative, she trailed off, letting the silence speak. My mom's not afraid of you. Your mom's military. Right? Deployed husband? Be a real shame if someone reported her for child neglect, leaving you alone so much. Unsafe environment. CPS takes those reports very seriously. Aurora's blood went cold. You wouldn't. I would. I have. Ask Rebecca. Madison's eyes glittered with malice. Oh, wait. You can't. She doesn't exist anymore. She stepped back from the car. Enjoy your suspension. Aurora, use the time to pack. You're done here. The athletes peeled away from the car, following Madison back to the BMW. As they drove away, Aurora realized she was shaking. I'm sorry, Ethan said quietly. I should have warned you. Should have. Stop. Aurora cut him off. This isn't your fault. She looked at the flash drive in her hand. But we're going to need help. A lot of help. Who do you have in mind? Aurora thought about the applause in the cafeteria, the 3 million views before they vanished, the students who'd sent videos to the news. Everyone, she said. We're going to need everyone. Her phone rang. Mom. Hey. Sweetie, how's the study session going? Aurora watched the BMW's taillights disappear into the night. "Mom, we have a problem. A big one. I'm on my way." As they waited for her mom, Aurora opened the flash drive on Ethan's laptop. File after file of evidence. Photos of bruised students. Hospital records. Threatening messages. Financial documents showing bribes and payoffs. "Jesus," Ethan breathed. This is enough to put Madison and her father in jail. Only if we can prove it's real," Aurora said. And only if we survive long enough to use it. A message popped up on her phone. Unknown number again. But this time, there was a photo attached. Aurora's house, taken from across the street. Recent she could see her mom's car in the driveway. The message read, "Nice home. Be a shame if something happened to it. Like what happened to Rebecca's car. Accidents happen all the time." Aurora showed Ethan the message. His face went pale. "We need to tell someone." "The police? Are you kidding? Didn't you hear Madison? Her father owns this town." "The police? The judges? Everyone. Then what do we do?" Aurora looked at the files again, at the evidence of years of abuse, at the list of victims too scared to speak up. "We fight back," she said. "But like Rebecca said, smart. Madison thinks she's untouchable because she controls the narrative. So we change the narrative." "How?" "By doing what she doesn't expect." Aurora's mind raced. "She thinks I'll run, hide, transfer like everyone else. But what if I don't? What if instead I make this bigger than just one school?" Her mom's car pulled into the parking lot. Sarah Louise got out. And even from a distance, Aurora could see the steel in her spine. "One more thing," Ethan said quietly. "Those photos Madison mentioned, they're fake, photoshopped, but good enough to fool anyone who doesn't look close. She's done it before. Destroyed reputations with lies that look like truth. Then we better make sure our truth is louder than her lies," Aurora said. As her mom approached, Aurora made a decision. Madison Hayes thought she'd won by making this personal, by threatening her family, by trying to erase her existence. But Madison had made one crucial mistake. She'd given Aurora nothing left to lose. And a military kid with nothing to lose? That was more dangerous than any bully could imagine. "Get in," Sarah said, her voice all business. "Both of you, we need to talk somewhere safe." As they drove away from Westfield Academy, Aurora clutched the flash drive tight. Tomorrow, her suspension would start. Madison would think she'd won. The Queen Bee would return to her throne, surrounded by fear and fake friends. But tomorrow was also when Aurora would begin her real education, not in mathematics or history, but in something far more valuable: how to destroy a kingdom from the inside out. The safe house wasn't what Aurora expected. Instead of some military bunker, her mom drove them to a modest coffee shop downtown called The Neutral Ground. The owner, a woman with silver streaks in her dark hair, locked the door behind them and flipped the closed sign. "Sarah," the woman hugged Aurora's mom. "Been too long." "Aurora." "Ethan," Sarah said. "This is Captain Lisa Morrison. Retired. We served together." "Lisa, we have a situation." Lisa studied them with sharp eyes. "Madison Hayes? You know?" Aurora asked. "Everyone knows. Lisa poured coffee. That girl's been terrorizing kids for years, but her daddy's money keeps everyone quiet." She paused. "Usually." Aurora placed the flash drive on the table. "Not anymore." For the next hour, they reviewed Rebecca's files, financial records showing Richard Hayes bribing school officials, text messages planning attacks on students, photos of injuries never reported, a paper trail of destruction spanning 3 years. "This is enough to bury them," Lisa whistled. "But you need to be smart about how you use it. Richard Hayes has judges in his pocket. Then we don't go to the judges," Aurora said. "We go to everyone else." Her phone buzzed. Another unknown number. "Enjoying coffee? We're watching. Always watching." Aurora showed the message to the group. Sarah's jaw tightened. "They're trying to scare you," Ethan said. "It's working," Aurora admitted. "But being scared doesn't mean giving up." Lisa pulled out a laptop. If you're going to war with the Hayes family, you need allies. Lucky for you. I know exactly where to find them. She opened a private message board. The header read, Madison Hayes Survivors Group. There are 47 members. Lisa explained, all former Westfield students, all have stories. Most are too scared to go public. But with the right push, Aurora read through the posts. Story after story of bullying, threats, destroyed reputations. One name kept appearing, Emma Patterson. Who's Emma? Aurora asked. Lisa corrected. She was a sophomore 2 years ago. Straight A student. Full scholarship to Westfield. Made the mistake of dating a boy Madison liked. What happened? Officially, she transferred for mental health reasons. Unofficially, Lisa pulled up a news article. She tried to take her own life. Madison had spread edited photos of her, convinced the whole school she was, well, it doesn't matter what lies, Madison told. Emma believed the only way out was the coffee shop fell silent. She survived. Lisa continued, but she never came back. Lives with her grandmother in Oregon now. Aurora felt rage building in her chest. And Madison just got away with it? Every time. Sarah said, until now. I want to talk to Emma, Aurora decided, and the others. If we're doing this, we do it together. Lisa smiled. I was hoping you'd say that. I'll start making calls. They spent the next 3 hours planning this. By the time they left, Aurora had a list of 20 students willing to share their stories. If Aurora went first, that night, Aurora sat in her bedroom. Camera ready. Her hands shook as she hit record. My name is Aurora Louise. Today was my first day at Westfield Academy. By lunch, Madison Hayes had torn my uniform and I had to defend myself. By evening, I was threatened, stalked, and told to leave town, but I'm not leaving. She held up the flash drive. I have evidence. 3 years of Madison Hayes destroying lives. And I'm not the only one. We've been silent because we were alone. But we're not alone anymore. She looked directly at the camera. Madison, I know you're watching. You said reality is what people with power say it is. Well, guess what? You're not the only one with power. Truth has power. Courage has power. And right now, 47 students who survived, you have power. This video goes live at midnight. You have 2 hours to do the right thing. Apologize. Get help. Stop the cycle. Or we tell everyone everything. She stopped recording and sent the video to Lisa for safekeeping. Then she waited. At 10:45, her doorbell rang. Aurora's mom answered it, hand notably close to her hip, where Aurora knew she kept her service weapon. Richard Hayes stood on their porch, no longer in his expensive suit but in jeans and a sweater. He looked older, tired. May I come in? Sarah stepped aside. Aurora, come down. Bring the drive. They sat in the living room, tension thick as fog. Richard Hayes looked at Aurora with something she didn't expect respect. You've got spine? Kid. I'll give you that. Is that supposed to be a compliment? Aurora asked. It's an observation. Richard rubbed his face. I got a call from Lisa Morrison. She played me your video, showed me some of the files, and I'm here to make a deal. Sarah leaned forward. We're listening. Madison needs help. Real help. I've known it for years, but… He paused. It's hard to admit your child is broken. Easier to throw money at problems. Make them disappear. Like Emma Patterson? Aurora's voice was ice. Richard flinched. I didn't know about that until tonight. If I had… He shook his head. No, that's a lie. I knew Madison was getting worse. I just didn't want to see it. So what's your offer? Sarah asked. Madison withdraws from Westfield immediately. Enters a therapeutic boarding school in Switzerland. Intensive therapy. No contact with former victims. I'll personally pay for counseling for any student she hurt. And the criminal charges? Aurora pressed. The bribes? The cover-ups? I'll cooperate fully with any investigation. Take responsibility for my part. He met Aurora's eyes, but in exchange, that video doesn't go public. The other students can share their stories. But Madison, she's still my daughter. She's 16. This would destroy her life. She destroyed dozens of lives. Aurora countered. I know. Richard's voice cracked. But she's also a child. My child. And maybe with help, she can change. Aurora looked at her mom. Then back at Richard. I need to talk to the others. This isn't just my decision. Fair enough. You have until midnight? Aurora nodded. Richard stood to leave, then paused at the door. For what it's worth, I'm sorry. To you. To all of them, I failed as a father. I won't fail again. After he left, Aurora video called Lisa and the survivor group. The debate was fierce. Some wanted blood. Others just wanted peace. Emma Patterson, calling from Oregon, had the final word. I don't want revenge, Emma said quietly. I want to heal. If Madison gets help, real help, and stays away, that's enough for me. The vote was close, but mercy won. At 11:58, Aurora posted a different video. My name is Aurora Louise. Today I stood up to a bully. But this isn't about one person, it's about a system that protects those with power and silences those without. That changes now. Effective immediately. Madison Hayes will be leaving Westfield Academy to seek intensive therapy. Her father will cooperate with investigations into systemic bullying at our school. And Wetha survivors will be heard. To those watching who've been bullied, threatened, silenced, you're not alone. Stand up. Speak out. Together, we're stronger than fear. The video went viral, really viral this time. 5 million views in 6 hours. National news picked it up. Number stronger than fear started trending. But the real victory came the next morning. Aurora walked into Westfield Academy not as a suspended student, but as a catalyst for change. Principal Harrison met her at the entrance. Miss Louisa, I owe you an apology. You owe a lot of students apologies. Aurora said, I'm just the only one still here to collect. Throughout the day, students approached her. Some shared their own stories. Others just said, thank you. By lunch, Aurora wasn't eating alone. She was surrounded by people who finally felt safe enough to exist. Ethan sat beside her, no longer worried about mysterious photos. You did it. We did it. Aurora corrected. All of us. Madison's really gone? Left for Switzerland this morning. Her dad sent proof. And Rebecca? Aurora smiled. Starting at Westfield tomorrow. She gets her senior year back. The cafeteria, the same one where this all started, felt different now. Lighter. Students laughed freely. The invisible hierarchies that Madison had enforced were crumbling. Hey, Aurora. She turned to see a freshman girl, barely 5 feet tall, holding a lunch tray nervously. Yeah? I just wanted to say, what you did yesterday, standing up to Madison, it was amazing. I just defended myself. No. The girl shook her head. You showed us we could fight back, that we didn't have to take it. She smiled shyly. I'm starting a self-defense club. Would you consider teaching us some moves? Aurora thought about her father. Somewhere overseas. Teaching soldiers to protect themselves. Like father. Like daughter. Sure. Aurora said. First meeting's Friday. As the girl walked away excited, Ethan laughed. You're going to teach the whole school judo? Why not? Better than learning the hard way. Her phone buzzed. For once, it wasn't a threat. It was a message from Emma Patterson. Watched your video again. Cried again. Good tears this time. Thank you for doing what I couldn't. Aurora typed back. You survived. That took more strength than any judo throw. Maybe, but you gave me hope. That's worth everything. The bell rang, signaling the end of lunch. As Aurora gathered her things, she noticed something carved into the table. Fresh. Probably from that morning. Aurora Louise equals hero. Hero seems a bit much. She muttered. Nah. Ethan said. Fits perfect. The weeks that followed weren't easy. The investigation into Richard Hayes's bribes led to 3 school board members resigning. Principal Harrison was replaced by someone who actually cared about students. The culture at Westfield slowly shifted from fear to freedom. Madison's friends tried to retaliate at first, but without their queen bee, they were just angry teenagers. When Skylar tried to restart the rumor mill, she found no one was listening anymore. When Brooklyn attempted to claim Aurora had ruined an innocent girl's life, the survivor group released a statement with their stories. Public opinion was devastating and swift. Rebecca thrived in her return to school. The scars remained, but she wore them without shame. She and Aurora became close, bonding over their shared experience of standing up to Madison. "You know," Rebecca said one day, "I spent 2 years hating my sister, but now I just feel sorry for her." "Why?" Aurora asked. "Because she'll never know what real friendship feels like. Real connection. She only knew fear and control." Rebecca touched her largest scar. "These will fade, but Madison? She has to live with who she became." 3 months later, Aurora received a letter. Swiss postmark. No return address. Inside, Madison's handwriting. "Aurora, my therapist says I should write to those I've hurt. Apologize. But sorry seems too small for what I did. I'm not asking for forgiveness. I don't deserve it. But I wanted you to know that I'm trying, really trying, to understand why I became a monster. To change. You were the first person to stand up to me. Really stand up. Not with lawyers or money, but with strength I didn't know existed. You broke something in me, something that needed breaking. I won't contact you again. But thank you for stopping me before I destroyed someone else. Maybe one day I'll be worthy of the mercy you showed. Madison." Aurora read the letter twice, then shared it with the survivor group. Opinions were mixed. Some doubted its sincerity. Others saw hope. Emma Patterson had the final word again. "People can change. Not always, not easily, but possibly that has to be enough." Life at Westfield continued. Aurora's self-defense club grew from 10 students to 50. www.com. Rebecca was elected student body president. Ethan started a support group for male students who'd been bullied but were too ashamed to speak up. The flash drive evidence led to broader investigations. Richard Hayes cooperated fully, accepting a plea deal that included massive fines but avoided jail time in exchange for his testimony. The money went to fund anti-bullying programs across the district. Madison Hayes had been wrong about power. It wasn't about money or fear or control. Real power was in truth, courage, and community. And at Westfield Academy, that power had finally won. The summer sun felt warm on Aurora's face as she walked with her friends toward a future that no longer held fear. Behind them, the school stood changed. Better, safer, and somewhere in Switzerland, a broken girl was learning to heal. Sometimes the best victories weren't about destroying your enemies. Sometimes they were about transforming them. And sometimes, the new girl who just wanted to fit in became the catalyst that changed everything. Aurora Louise had thrown more than a bully that day in the cafeteria. She'd thrown an entire system, and from its landing, something better had risen.